Here at Bigger Bolder Baking, we've had a lot of viral videos, and I'm going to predict that this chocolate pasta is the next big thing. Here's how to make it. So to make the dough, we're going to do this all by hand. However, you can use a kitchen mixer with a dough hook if you want, but it is really easy to mix it up by hand. Into our sieve, we're going to add in our all-purpose flour, oops-a-daisy, some powdered sugar, and some cocoa powder, and of course, a little bit of salt. Chocolate and salt are best friends. Doughs can be a little bit plain, so just because it's a sweet dough doesn't mean we shouldn't add a little bit of salt in there. And then just sift these ingredients together. I very rarely whip out a sieve in my kitchen anymore. I do it when I'm using cocoa powder and powdered sugar because both of them have moisture in them and they can create lumps. We just want to get those lumps out of there. This is kind of therapeutic actually. Okay, lovely. Give it a bit of a mix. And then we're going to make a well in the center. And this is where our eggs and our vanilla are going to go. And then in with our beaten eggs in the center. Lastly, a splash of vanilla extract in there, just to give it really lovely flavor. Now, I don't know if you're like me, but as a baker, I love to work with a fork, mixing doughs, pastries, whatever it is. So I'm going to go in with my fork and I'm going to give that a mix and start to bring in the dry ingredients into the eggs until it all kind of starts to form a dough. Okay, so this is coming together. It's still a little bit dry. I like to get my hands in there. So now I've made this dough a few times, and sometimes you need a little splash of milk. And by splash, I mean a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons. Everybody's flour is different. It's the same when making any type of a dough. So just do a little, enough to hydrate your dough and to bring it all together. Let me see, I'm going to add a splash more. So I added around 1.5 tablespoons. And there my dough has come together. Perfect. So there we go. Dough came together, a nice clean bowl. You know, that's always my rule. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to knead it by hand for a few minutes. You know, around 8 to 10 minutes or so until it's lovely and smooth. People often ask me, is there a right or a wrong way to knead? And no, there's not. You know, you just kind of work the dough under your hand. I've been working with doughs for many, many years. So just kind of move it around, stretch it, and push it into the countertop. Okay, this is looking good to me. It's feeling nice and smooth. So here's what we're gonna do. Wrap it up in cling wrap, nice and tight, and we are going to let this relax in the fridge for around 30 minutes. I'm gonna flatten it out a little bit. So you don't want to leave it too long. Just give it enough time to let the gluten relax. It'll be much easier to roll. Then we're gonna come back and check it out. While this is chilling, we're gonna get started on our sauce for this lovely pasta. Okay, to make the sauce, in a heavy bottom saucepan, turn on to like a lowish heat. And then into your pot, add in your cream, your Nutella. You can use homemade or store-bought, and then a little bit of salt. And then all we have to do is just heat these up until the Nutella melts and your sauce is smooth. That is it. Okay, so this looks great. Turn off the heat. Set it over to the side, let it hang out there for a little bit, and we're gonna go check on our pasta and get it rolled out. So here I have my dough and it's nice and chilled. Now you can see my pasta machine here. For best results, if you have a pasta machine, then use it. I'm gonna show you how to do that. However, I'm also gonna show you how to roll this out by hand. It's a little bit harder, takes a little bit longer, but it is possible. So using a machine, I recommend following the instructions on your pasta maker. Just flatten it out a little bit and start to pass it through the rollers. What we want to do is just get it thinner and thinner as we go. Keep passing it through until you get your pasta as thin as possible. I'm talking paper thin. You need to get it thin because once it cooks, it actually plumps up a little bit and gets thicker. So you don't want to be chewing on like thick pasta. There we go, lovely. So there's a nice big sheet of pasta. Cut it depending on how long you want your noodles. I'm going to change my attachment, and then I'm going to cut it into the pasta. So pappardelle, tagliatelle, whatever you like. Around 1/2 inch wide. Perfect, look at that. Sometimes pasta can get a little bit sticky when it sits, so I like to toss it in a little bit of flour. So that's the machine way, very easy. Let me show you how you can roll it by hand. So here's how to do it by hand. The good old-fashioned way, a rolling pin, some flour, and then just go to town. Your dough will spring back. Just keep on working it and try and get it paper thin. And if you stop and your dough starts to spring back a little bit, that is totally normal. What you can do is let it sit there, relax for around 10 minutes or so, come back, and it'll be much easier to roll again. You might need to do this a few times. It's just the nature of a lot of pasta doughs. There we go. Oh. It's a labor of love. Okay, that took a few minutes, but I got it lovely and thin. Really nice and thin as I possibly could. Now, just like with the other pasta, I'm going to use a pizza cutter, and I'm just going to cut the noodles to around 1/2 inch thick. And there you have it. I have to say, I think the hand-rolled ones have a little bit more kind of uniqueness to them and look really nice. Okay, we have our pasta ready. I have a pot of water on the stove. Let's get over there, get it cooked off and get it plated. So here I have a nice big pot of boiling water. Now I'm going to add my pasta straight in. The great thing about fresh pasta, it only takes around 3 minutes to cook. You're going to know when it's done because it's all going to float to the top of the water. Okay, great, this looks done. I'm going to remove it and put it straight into our Nutella sauce. Feel free to heat that back up again and get nice and warm. Toss our cooked pasta in that. Look at that, absolute heaven, oh my gosh, beautiful. Okay, really there's no more time to waste, let's get this plated. So listen, go all out with this dessert. I'm going to top it with some chopped toasted hazelnuts, some raspberries, and a dollop of freshly whipped cream. Look how beautiful this is. The colors, the texture, just the fun, creative idea of it. Really fantastic. Let's talk and more tasting. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love it because it's sweet. I love it because it's a twist on a traditional recipe. I love it for kids. I love it for Valentine's Day. It's just fun. I mean, this is just decadence. Homemade pasta with a lovely sauce, fruit, cream on top. It's a little taste of heaven. Okay, our lives are so much better now that we know how to make chocolate pasta. Stick around, check out lots more of my videos, and I'll see you back here again really soon.